Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't.
What you are about to hear is why Washington froze. One senator said out loud what millions of Americans have been screaming for years, and Chuck Schumer had absolutely no answer for it.
We're given $3,600,000 to Haiti for pastry cooking classes, for cyber cafes, for dance focus groups, for male prostitutes. The president's saying, I don't think so. I don't think that the American people support giving their hard-earned money to male prostitutes in Haiti. So he's asking us to cut it out. He's asking us to reduce the budget by $833,000 because some of President Biden's bureaucrats gave a contract to transgender people, sex workers, and their clients in Nepal. That's why I call it spending porn. Triggers your gag reflex. You look at this stuff and you go, what in God's name? Who decided to do this? I'm going to say, Mr. President, next week, President Trump's going to send us over what's called a rescission bill. What does that mean? Well, we've got a $7 trillion budget. Okay? I don't know how much of that $7 trillion is waste, but every fair-minded person would have to agree that there's some money being spent in that $7 trillion that shouldn't be spent. It just shouldn't. It's wasted money. And so President Trump and this Congress made one of its objectives trying to reduce spending. Not spending that we need to reduce, but spending that needs to be reduced. I call it spending porn. And the president has sent us a bill. He's saying to Congress, I want you to reduce spending in the current budget by $9.1 billion. And let me tell you what the spending, what constitutes the spending I want to reduce. Well, first, $9.1 billion out of a $7 trillion budget. We're not talking about a lot of money here. We're talking about 0.1%. That's all. That's point one. Point two, you need to look at what the president's asking us to cut out. I'll just give you a couple of examples. I didn't make this up. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Iraq to produce Sesame Street. Maybe we could use that money for something else. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Zambia for circumcisions and vasectomies. The president's saying we don't need to do that. We've got other priorities. We're giving $500,000 to Rwanda to buy electric buses. The president is saying to us, Congress, we don't need to be spending the money on that. There are more important things. We're spending $67,000 to give insect powder to kids in Madagascar. I don't even know what insect powder is, but the president's asking us to cut it out. We're giving $3,600,000 to Haiti for pastry cooking classes, for cyber cafes, for dance focus groups, for male prostitutes. The president's saying, I don't think so. I don't think that the American people support giving their hard-earned money to male prostitutes in Haiti. So he's asking us to cut it out. He's asking us to reduce the budget by $833,000 because some of President Biden's bureaucrats gave a contract to transgender people, sex workers, and their clients in Nepal. The president's saying, I don't want to do that. And he's right. That's enough. You get the idea. That's why I call it spending porn. Triggers your gag reflex. You look at this stuff and you go, what in God's name? Who decided to do this? Well, Congress didn't. The bureaucrats did. It's money we appropriated, but we didn't tell them to go spend money, $833,000, and give to sex workers in Nepal. They just took the money we appropriated and used it for that. And so the president is asking us to do what's called a rescission, to cancel the spending. Now, I have listened. I've been here 8 years, Mr. President, and I've listened to a whole bunch of people talk about the need to reduce spending. But you got to watch what people do, not what they say, because talk is cheap. And around here, I've learned pretty quickly that reducing spending, it's like going to heaven. I want to go to heaven. I bet you want to go to heaven, Mr. President. I bet our guests in the gallery want to go to heaven. But everybody wants to go to heaven. Raise your hand if you're ready to take the trip today. Most people, you are, sir, and I admire that. But most people want to live a little longer. And that's the way it is with reducing spending around here. I want to reduce spending. I support it, but not just yet, because I've got this project. Well, and I've listened to that. And I've especially listened to it for the past 100 days. Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't. And if you talk the game and say, let's reduce spending, and you vote against this bill, in my opinion, you ought to hide your head in a bag. Because you will be able to cut the hypocrisy with a knife. It's real hard, Mr. President, to preach temperance from a bar stool. It's gut check time. We need to pass this bill. I yield the floor, Mr. President.
Before we get into this absolute jaw-dropping moment on the Senate floor, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because this is where common sense still lives and where the truth about Washington actually gets told. All right, let's talk about what just happened, because this was one of those rare moments where the mask slipped completely off. Senator John Kennedy stood up in the Senate and did something Democrats never expect. He told the truth. Calmly, clearly, and without apology. And the moment he did, Chuck Schumer and the rest of the Democrats had nothing to say. Here's the setup. President Trump sends Congress a rescission bill. That's Washington language for canceling wasteful spending that never should have been approved in the first place. And let's be very clear about the numbers, because the media hopes you won't pay attention. Trump asked Congress to cut $9.1 billion from a $7 trillion federal budget. That's about 0.1%. 0.1%. And yet Democrats reacted like the world was ending. Kennedy made the point that should embarrass every so-called fiscal hawk in Washington. Everyone claims they want to cut spending. Everyone gives speeches about responsibility. Everyone says the debt is a problem. But when it's time to actually cut even a tiny sliver of waste, suddenly it's too hard, too complicated, or too dangerous. Then Kennedy did something devastating. He read the list. Millions of dollars for pastry cooking classes in Haiti. Money for dance focus groups. Cyber cafes. Electric buses overseas. Insect powder for kids in Madagascar. And yes, funding connected to sex workers abroad. While American families are choosing between groceries and gas. Kennedy didn't yell. He didn't grandstand. He just asked the obvious question. Who thinks this is what taxpayers signed up for? That's when the room went silent. Because there is no defense for that. There is no moral argument. There is no economic justification. And there is no political spin that makes that look sane. Kennedy called it what it is. Spending porn. Stuff so outrageous it triggers your gag reflex. And he was right. This wasn't Congress making careful decisions. This was unelected bureaucrats lighting taxpayer money on fire while hiding behind paperwork. Then came the line that absolutely buried Schumer and the Democrats. Kennedy said this is gut check time. Either you believe in reducing spending or you don't. You can't preach fiscal responsibility and then vote to protect garbage spending like this. That's hypocrisy, and he said it plainly. This is why Democrats froze. Because Kennedy exposed the entire game. Talk big. Spend bigger. And when someone finally says no, accuse them of cruelty or extremism. What Kennedy did wasn't partisan. It was patriotic. He stood up for the American taxpayer, the working family, the small business owner, and everyone who is sick of watching Washington treat their paycheck like monopoly money. And here's the real lesson. Leadership isn't about saying what polls well. Leadership is about having the courage to cut what never should have existed, even when the system screams back at you. Trump sent the bill. Kennedy defended it. Democrats went silent. And that silence told you everything you need to know. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and share this video because moments like this are exactly why the establishment hates accountability.